Hello and welcome to Aristotle Full Throttle. That's me. How are you doing? I was just trying to figure out how to play my own song. It was like, I don't know how to play my own song. Hello, welcome to the show. How does that sound? Let me just take a listen. Always the sound check at the beginning. That sounds fine. Hi! So it turns out it's midsummer. In the middle of summer, you get midsummer. It's like, what is it? The longest day of the year? It's the solstice. Is that today? Sounds like very pagan. Sounds crazy. It's like, and then it just starts getting shorter and shorter. This is my favorite day of the year. I think my favorite month of the year actually is July. How do you feel about July? People say July is hot, and I'm like, yeah. Don't get any better than that. Don't get any better than July. I got sunshine on a July day, as it were. So anyway, you could support the channel by subscribing on Twitch for a couple bucks a month. You can pledge $1, $5, $10 on Patreon to help. That would help me get this new mic stand situation. You could be the change. You could be the doing for stand by. That drops out for like a minute. Oh, hey. Oh, I know. I'll be back. I'm back. It's going to take a minute. It's going to take the show 10 jammed up. Constipated. So we got to let the show go for a little minute first. And then, let's see what this, can you hear me? If you can hear me, make the sign of the devil. Okay. That doesn't sound cool. That sounds like a... What does that sound like? That sounds like... Hey, Corey. I'm back. Yeah, so what happens is, like the first 5 minutes, if I let the show run for 5 minutes, it just starts to die. It starts to stall. And what I do is I usually start 5 minutes early. Anyway, thinking about what to talk about today, and, you know, they got the January 6th hearings were resuming today. I think that's relevant. I think if you're out there and you think that Trump is not a criminal, let me know your thoughts. Let me know how your brain works, because it sounds like you've got a broken brain, and I'd like to understand what that's like. I want to understand what it's like to have a bad brain. So tell me what that's like. I feel like there's like so many people out there that got like a terrible judgment, you know? They're terrible judges of character. They just make bad decisions in this world. What's up with that? What's up with that? Tell me how that works. Tell me why you got that face tattoo. I'm curious. What is going on? We need to talk. What are you doing? I'm just hanging out here. Someone said they really liked this podcast, and I said, oh, that's good. Thank you for that. All right, well, thank you. Thanks for supporting the show. So I'm going to go to VidCon tomorrow. I'm going to say, hey, you want to be on my show? You want to hire me for your show? Do you want me to be on your show? Try to figure out, all that stuff out. Because the world is a vampire. Thank you, musical band. Band hitting the musical cues, always on time. Thank you for that. That's what I'd like to be. Why don't I just be the bass player for like a late night Jimmy show? Let's campaign. And I'll talk to Jimmy every day. I'll say, hey, Jimmy, that was funny what you just said. I'll indicate your jokes. I could be a late night Jimmy. Why don't I just change my name to Jimmy? And like an Irish Jimmy or whatever. How many Jimmys are there at late night? There's Jimmy Kimmel's, there's Jimmy Fallon's, there's Jimmy Corden's. I could be a late night Jimmy. That's what I'm going to say all week. I'm going to say, I'm your next late night Jimmy. Jimmy Stottle. Well, then I'll just play you songs if we're just hanging out here. If you have any questions for me. Chiroptera says, what are you going to wear to the video convention? I'm going to wear a television for a head. I'll just put an old cathode ray tube television set on top of my head and say, look, I'm inside the tube. It's weird because YouTube, the reason why it's called YouTube is because there used to be a vacuum tube that electrons were fired across, a cathode ray tube actually, that would paint the image of whatever's being broadcast on the surface of that inner tube that had to be like vacuum sealed. It was like, that's what television used to be. Today, it's just little organic crystals that light up. Little LCD lights, that LEDs, and they just light emitting diodes. They just light up, little tiny ones. But back in the day, you had to have a tube. Shot electrons, fired electrons across it. And that's crazy. So I'm going to wear that as a hat. I'll be the YouTube icon. Because it's a little cathode ray tube, a CRT television. I don't know, I play the same riffs. So if you have any requests, let me know. Liz Cheney is paying the price in her home state for crossing Trump. I think that's really what we should be. That's the type of leadership we have. Fear of going against them. Because that's what Socrates said. He said, never question authority. That's what his philosophy was for mankind. And we know that that's important for you to never question authority, said Cartman. President Cartman. Trump was basically President Cartman. I think we can all agree on that. Musings. That's a nice A chord. Check out this chord. A. I like to watch a lot of YouTube videos. I like to create videos. I think I might start doing that more again, going back to creating videos, because I don't know, like, I'm actually recording this so I can upload it immediately afterward. So I'm going to try that for a change. We'll see. Maybe this doesn't come out so great. But let's read some other trending headlines. The latest about the war in Ukraine. Did you see that Ben Stiller went to Ukraine? And he said to the president of Ukraine, he said, you should go fight those Russians. Do it. No, do it. Do it. No, do it. Fight the Russians. How did Disney lose Florida? They work at Disney. Marvel's Miles Morales. I shared this in the Discord. What do you guys think about? This is like stereotypical stuff in the Miles Morales comic book about Miles Morales being what if he was Thor and all this stuff. You know, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I was watching this thing. You know, what was I watching? I was realizing, I was like, oh, it's all just white people. Like the show White Friends from the 90s. Remember White Friends? Jennifer Aniston's and all of them. So many shows that we're just used to watching it. It's like just all white guys. And you're like, oh yeah, representation matters. Representation counts. Oh, this is what I tweeted on Twitter today. This is an important discussion I think we should have. People were getting upset about Emma Thompson in a so-called fat suit in her next role. They were saying she's wearing a fat suit over and over again. They were like, this Emma Thompson, when are we going to stop having skinny actresses, skinny is the term to use, wearing fat suits, right? And let me see if I can get this picture for you up on the screen so you could see what they're referring to as Emma Thompson being, quote, fat and wearing a fat suit, and how it's so absurd that people in skinny actresses is what they use the term, are dressed in fat suits. Yeah, let me show you what they're referring to. And I said to myself, I'm gonna try to take a screenshot of that. Can I save the image? You can't save images anymore. Copy. Just paste this image. I'll send it to you, Corruptor. And then I'm going to save it. This is the convoluted way I have to do this. Anyway, this is the image that they're saying is Emma Thompson in a fat suit. And I'm like, a couple things here. First of all, a little offensive that you're calling this woman, who might be, I don't know, termed matronly back in the day or something like that, as fat. I wouldn't say that she's fat. I would say that she is an imposing physique. I would say that she's an imposing type of physicality of an actor, you know, of a character. I'd say that she's playing a character with an imposing physicality. I would not say that she is wearing a fat suit. I would say that perhaps Emma Thompson in this role, we don't know, this could be her at an older age, and then they'll cut back to her when she was younger. And of course, your body changes throughout your age. So I don't understand the upset, this weird, like people talking about, I'm gonna get you this fat suit picture right away. I can't, for some reason, everything's taking too long. For some reason, I say, as if I didn't know my show fails repeatedly. Let me save this image. I'm gonna airdrop it to myself. I just airdropped it to myself. Gotta do this like 50 different ways. Here we go. So Emma Thompson, the actor, is dressed like this. Oh my goodness. Oh, good golly. One of these days, my computer. Listen, you could support the channel. Let me just, while I'm doing this, I could tell you all the ways you could support the channel so I could buy a new computer. I do appreciate you guys listening. If you just simply listen to this as a podcast, that's That helps. Come on. Add to photos. Downloads. Is that really not going to work? Oh my goodness. What do you guys think about fat suits, quote unquote, actors? This is not exactly Shallow Hal. I don't know if you've seen that movie Shallow Hal, but Gwyneth Paltrow wears a fat suit in that. So she's supposed to be, quote, unattractive when she's heavier, and then she's supposed to be, and then when she's, and Hal only sees her as he sees her as Gwyneth Paltrow. One of these days I'll be able to simply get a photo to appear in the, which... If I do this, maybe if I do that. There. Did it show up? No? Nothing. Anyway, Google it. Oh, good God. Okay. Is that it? 920. Maybe this will work? No? Not that either? If I do this. What if I play this music? File, export. This is the greatest part of my show, is listening to the IT aspect of the show. Did you try turning it off and on again? I think people tune in to be like, to really recreate what it's like to be in their office while the IT guy is there, going, I don't know what's wrong with your computer. Maybe you should get a new computer. Yeah, we're gonna have to buy you a new computer. Not desktop. Downloads. This is the most entertaining show there is. I'm trying to get to the point here. The point is, Emma Thompson's an excellent actor. I would venture to say that actors, part of the craft of acting, is wearing disguises and makeup. And I would not call this a fat suit. I would call this if the character had to be an imposing figure, have an imposing physique. There it is. Look. Now, would you say that this is a fat suit? Because look at her waist compared to her head. She's not like got a gigantic waist or anything. I just think that she's playing a character probably older than she is. And then it'll cut back to when she was younger, and she'll look different physically, like we all do. So it's a little frustrating that they're going, this is Emma Thompson in a fat suit. Look at, would you say that this person is, would you describe this woman as fat? It's kind of a weird judgment call. Do you know what I mean? They're like saying, look at this lady. Everybody, you should look at this woman and think she's fat. And I just don't think that. This is a booby suit. Yeah, perhaps. Chiroptera says, just like The Office, there's no budget for a new one. Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Like, would you call this a fat suit? I would not describe it as such. Like, she's clearly playing someone older and more physically imposing than she is. So let's say when superheroes wear like the muscle suit, are we getting mad that real life bodybuilders aren't allowed to play those roles? Every superhero that you watch is like a dude who's worked out and not eaten for months and months and months and years so he could physically do a shirtless scene Same thing with women. They don't eat for months, and then they go, okay, now we're doing our nude scene. So I'm saying, what people who work out to become the size of The Rock, are they all missing out on parts? Like when the dude dresses like Shazam and wears a suit that's just all fake muscles, are we gonna say, oh well, he's taking roles away from actual bodybuilders? I'm not. This is like a serious. It's like a serious. You're like a whole minute behind me. Time is weird. Time's weird like that. What would you say? I tend to think that Emma Thompson is changing her appearance and her physicality on account of being an actor. I wouldn't say that she's going, look at me, I'm a fat guy, or look at me, I'm a fat person. She's not doing that. I don't think. This is not my perception of this character at all, just from the picture. If you were to look at this picture and say, oh, look at the fat lady, I'd be like, what's wrong with you? Where are your thoughts, particularly? It's a little frustrating. Like, whose role is she taking away by dressing like this? I agree that there should be more normal physiques in movies. Within the realm of normal physique. So, like, why can't Emma Thompson change her physique from one to the other? Because I don't believe she's just doing it simply to play a fat person. I think she's embodying a character who I think this character is supposed to be a villain, quote unquote. So they're like, oh, why does she have to be uglied up to play a villain? And I'm like, because traditionally, we want to be scared of our villain, traditionally. And she looks like an imposing type of person that you might encounter in like military school or something. Not someone who I would qualify as fat. Chiroptera says, I think people might be too fixated on the fat suit label, and if we just call it a costume, people would be less concerned about it. I agree with you. I mean, how about all of those people who have naturally sharp teeth? Why can't they play vampires? You know what I mean? It's like, to me, this is on the line. This is below the line of someone just being a comic relief fatsuit. She looks like a real person. She doesn't look like a comically overweight person or whatever. In the sense of the traditional idea that, oh, we're supposed to laugh at fat people. I'm not saying fat is comical. I'm saying that traditional people are portrayed as such. Let me play you a song on my thumb harp. Yeah. It's like a Mozart. Dun, dun. That's Mozart. Thank you. Chiroptera says, actually, we should be casting for representation like how the Jurassic movies cast real dinosaurs. I agree. How come they can't get real dinosaurs to play dinosaurs in the Jurassic Parks movies? Why is that? You know what I mean? And it's like, what's the line? What line are we crossing here? Like, Jabba the Hutt was supposed to be like a representation of corpulence and opulence. That is like Jabba the Hutt, right? He's a giant slug. So sometimes there's a thing called physiognomy. Now, go with me on this. I learned about physiognomy in high school. Physiognomy is the literary term. You could use it for like movies and TV shows. Is to say there's a certain physical characteristic of your character that is representative of that character. Let's say someone is nosy, right? They're really nosy. They like to get into everyone's business. So their character is depicted with a giant nose, you see? Or someone who's like always like, overhearing things, like they have giant ears, So the physiognomy of a character sometimes, when they're represented as corpulent, you're like, oh, this person lives in excess. It actually describes something about that character. And at what point, now, go with me on this, at what point does it become disrespectful to someone who is very large? What point does it become disrespectful to that person to cast them in a role like Baron Harkonnen in Dune, who is supposed to be like 500 pounds? He's supposed to be like lifted with a gravity belt because he can't walk anymore. So now are you going to cast a large person for that role and be like, oh, you're Baron Harkonnen, the corpulent, disgusting, like he's corpulent and disgusting. I'm not saying corpulent equals disgusting. I'm saying he's very large and has boils on his face and stuff, and he's supposed to be a repulsive character. Now, do you cast a person who's 400 or 500 pounds to intentionally play a repulsive character, or do you get an actor to wear a quote fat suit? This is a good question, I think. Like, what do you think? Do you think it's I got this. Oh, it sounds like Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is a... Oh, almost got it. Let me see if I can play it on guitar. Let me just figure out Jurassic Park. Hold on a second. I don't know. I haven't even heard the song in a while. That's a pretty good soundtrack. I do agree that we should have dinosaurs in real movies, and real movies in dinosaurs. We should project movies on the sides of dinosaurs, like a brachiosaur. And by the way, pterosaurs are not dinosaurs, they're pterosaurs. Then what do you got? You got dino DNA. Hang on to your butts. Hold on to your butts. Well, any requests or comments? It's such a low energy show today. I don't know. I'm like not fired up about particularly much. I wish I could have more of a plan sometimes, but that's the one thing is like, what do we do about this idea that, oh, this person is just simply a fat person? It's like, how did you walk away looking at this picture thinking, oh, that's just a fat person? And I'm like, that looks like Emma Thompson portraying an imposing villain character. There's something about the physicality sometimes you want to take on when you are playing a character. Sometimes they give you shoulder pads to look bigger. What are you going to say? Well, this really eliminates people with naturally broad shoulders. So it's like an actor changes their face, changes their body. This is part of the craft of acting. And I don't understand why this is like... Sometimes people are picking battles, particularly like this interview or this article I read, and I'm like, you're just picking a battle where there really isn't one. This isn't Shallow Hal. This isn't what's that movie with Ryan Reynolds where he wears a fat suit and loses weight. But that's like the plot of the movie, is that he changes his body to actually, and even in the show, I know that you guys watched. I know that some of you like that show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. One of the actors gained like 100 pounds one season and then got in incredibly lean shape for the following season. The actor like physically did this to their body. And it's like, well, he became a, quote, fat guy to play a fat guy. Like, so are we going to get mad at people who are naturally skinny for gaining weight and taking roles away from... I think it's an interesting discussion. Chiroptera asks, are you right or left-handed? Yes. Look, me and Emma Thompson's touching... ET phone home. Let's see. Corruptor says, isn't it fun how one half of our bodies are kind of worse at everything? Yeah, that is kind of funny. That's my good nose. That's my good back. The upper half. I think it's interesting how a lot of our yeah, I mean, you could technically spend time equaling it out, but we always tend, like 75% of us or 90% of us choose to do the right side. Sometimes your organs are on the other side. Sometimes the heart, everything's flipped inside, which is weird. Those people are weird. We're going to get mad at people who have normal organs for playing people who have flipped organs? Are we going to get mad at them? Tell me, talk to me. Let me see your thoughts on this. Do you think, like, are we picking these battles? Like, when we put an actor in a muscle suit? For instance, I also think, from what I've seen, what it looks like, they really enhance the physiques of these actors when they're playing these muscle-bound characters. And especially, I'm looking at the previews for Thor, Love and Thunder, and Natalie Portman, not for nothing, she's about 1.5 feet tall, okay? So I'm saying they put these fake arms on her to make her look muscular. I don't think she was working out, building up her biceps to make her play Lady Thor. I think they cartooned it. They CGI'd it. Totally fine. Same thing with Chris Hemsworth. I think he works out a lot, but I also think they add extra muscles. They add like 15 extra muscles on him. And, with the CG, and I'm not joking. Some of it's photography, some of it's insane workouts that last years, and some of it's just CG. Some of it's just CG. CG. I forget how John Williams thinks. John Williams, 900 years old today. Well, here's a cool thing. Tomorrow I'm going to be coming at you live from VidCon. I will be doing a live stream probably at this time, and I'll be talking to people on the street. I'll be saying stupid questions like, hi. And then, they'll talk. I'll say, what's in the box? And we'll play a game where you win, and nothing will be in the box. And I'll just say, what's in the box? And then they'll say, salad. And I'll say, it's whatever it was inside you the whole time. If it's a fantasy or sci-fi story with exaggerated characters, just use CG or costumes and calm down. Interesting take on that. I do agree that if you're going to play exaggerated characters in an exaggerated world, there's nothing wrong with having exaggerated features and characterizations. Character says, if it's a normally unchangeable part of the character's identity that is important to the story, like their race, it's not that hard to cast someone with that trait. Yes. So, I would like to know more about this character that Emma Thompson is playing, because she doesn't look like particularly a fat person. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, look at this fat lady. I would just say, look at this imposing figure, this imposing character. This says something about her physicality. It explains a lot to me already about what I should think about this person on account of lived in the real world in the sense of, there's certain things you could tell about this character. She's militant, because she's wearing a very military color. She's got a tie and a collar. Her hair is up and back. She's in a way that she's authoritative. She's got her finger in the air. She's commanding, right? She's got a walkie-talkie ready. She's some kind of figure of authority. She's got keys hanging from her belt. All of this is telling me something about her character, more so than her physique, which her physique is also coming at me as like, okay, they've got added extra shoulder pads on her costume. So to me, I'm like, she's an imposing character. She's got like a strength to her, a power to her. This is what I'm thinking when I look at this. I don't just go immediately to, oh, it's Emma Thompson. When are we going to stop giving skinny actresses fat suits to wear? That's not what I'm thinking when I look at this. And if that's what you're thinking, get your priorities straight. That's in my opinion. Listen, I'm going to push back on this whole concept of cancelizations. I just don't think that this is the right battle. It's not the right battle for that. Okay, so wait, this is Miss Trunchbull who was evil. Yes. So they're also saying, like, well, why is it that this woman is so ugly or whatever? It's like, if you're looking at this woman thinking ugly and evil, or ugly and fat, if you're thinking ugly and fat instead of powerful and evil, which is not powerful and evil, but strict and strong. This is what I see from this person. I don't see ugly and fat, which I think is really weird how people's brains immediately go there. Instead of associating fat with evil, they have made her huge. Right. I don't think that... I mean, seriously, people out there, if you're watching this on the replay, comment below. Do you think that this person, if you saw them, with the first thing you think is, look at the fat lady? No, I wouldn't. What? How does it go? Do you guys listen to Mark Mothersbaugh? Any Devo fans out there? Rushmore, anyone? Wes Anderson, come on. Jason Schwartzman from Coconut Radio, from the band Coconut, from the Coconut Band, drummer for Phantom Planet originally, helped get them famous. Raptor says, it makes more sense that this character grew up to use her size the way to maintain her power, especially over children. See, you're actually doing a character breakdown, which is interesting because that's what a lot of people might do immediately looking at this. I just think it's a weirdly uncontroversial subject that people are trying to find a controversy about. Let me know what you think. She's a massive, like, a Viking, not fat. Yes, she seems strong. She looks like someone who's worked out her whole life. She doesn't look like someone who's... If someone's looking at that and saying, that's a fat person, I would say this is a person who looks strong. They look like they're a sturdy, strong human being who's probably could lift you over their head and toss you. This is, like, supposed to be, I assume, part of the character. Think about those actors, though, that sit there and they work out for months and months and months to get into shape. Think of all the actresses who they work out constantly, don't eat, so that they can appear a certain way on camera. And, listen, you could say, I would venture to say that is just as much an eating disorder than it is to be overweight. Look, I would just like to look at this a little bit more fairly, because people are like, oh, well, this is taking roles away from people who are bigger. And I'm like, okay, well, there are people who are just naturally bigger. There are people who are just naturally smaller. But there are people who have difficulties with their eating habit, their ordered eating and disordered eating, however people want to call it, that it results in different types of physicalities. I mean, the question, I suppose, is the person who is underweight as, like, why is that person more of a bad guy, a bad person? Why is that person considered, oh, you're taking a role away from someone who eats too many things? Let's say, for instance, hypothetically. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, let's say someone has an eating disorder where they eat too many things, and then they get large. And then you say, okay, well, what about someone who's got an eating disorder who they eat too few things, and they get very, very thin? And they're both unhealthy in different ways, let's say. Now, we're not talking about naturally large people and naturally small people. We're talking about people... eating direct. It's like the person who is underweight oftentimes is considered the bad guy for taking roles away from people who are overweight. And you're like, but wait a minute, maybe they're dealing with the same thing from different ends. I don't know. This is just a hypothetical. It's my opinion. It's my thought. And I want to be fair about it. I don't want to sit there and just demonize one group against another. I don't want to say that representation doesn't matter, because it does. But I don't think that this is a case that, like Corruptor was saying, I don't think that there's certain things that are I don't know. I don't know what's fair and what's not. Small as expected. Grooves. Yeah, I wonder about that. But yes, I guess small is expected. So people who are, we're focusing more on smaller bodied folks instead of sort of average. But here's the funny thing. I think it's funny how through the years they were like, yeah, being as a guy who's an in the acting. Years ago, they were like, we're looking for, in shape people in shape, They still say that. But then they say, then like about 10 years ago, craft beer became the biggest thing on there since sliced bread. Liquid bread became the biggest thing since sliced bread. People say, craft beer, I love to drink craft beer. It's the coolest thing. And then watch what happens. 5 years later, everybody's like, dad bods are totally in now because of all the craft beer drinking. That's my assumption. That's my correlation. I figure people drank so much craft beer, they all got dad bods, and they said, now dad bods are cool because obviously we're just going to undo everything. We're just going to make everything, whatever it is you're doing, it's fine. We'll make that the cool thing. And there's people who are just like, there needs to be, sometimes I think there needs to be a reckoning on health in general. When people are like smokers, we're not glorifying smokers. We're saying, look, it's not healthy for you. When people who are larger, who lose weight, like Adele, and the actor, she's Australian, she lost a lot of weight. People are like, how could you lose weight? How could you? And they're like, because I wanted to make a decision about my own body, and I chose to do that. And now they're demonized because they're like, well, I didn't want to keep the reason I was that heavy for some people was not comfortable for them. They didn't want to be that anymore, so they changed their body, maybe due to the pressures around them, maybe whatever it is, but whose place is it to tell them that they were wrong for changing their physique? I find it strange that the same people who are like, all about autonomy and individual rights are going to sit there and make fun of somebody who they think is, quote, too skinny or too fat. It's just like, come on, deal with your own things, be who you want to be. You wish more people on TV were regular looking, says Chiroptera. Well, I feel that sentiment. I understand that sentiment. However, I think, well, they create the ideal of beauty on TV. They say, this is what's beautiful and this is what we're going to continue to perpetuate. But is this a wag the dog situation? I wonder about this. I say, do we want to watch TV to see someone who we'd see just on the street every day? Maybe you do. Maybe you want to watch Trailer Park Boys from Canada. That show is funny. But sometimes people will be like, I just want to look at pretty things and what I consider pretty people. And I feel like that's the lowest common denominator. So there's certain things that people do in TV to be idealized. They never have a hair out of place. They never have a blemish. So that people can just sort of... The problem with that is many things. For instance, a lot of teen dramas when I grew up, 90210, these kids were like... First of all, they were 30, and they're supposed to be in high school. Second of all, all their skin was perfect. All their hair was perfect. They were perfect weight, and the person who was considered, quote, fat was not fat. Like the people, they'd be like, oh, look at her, she's fat, and she'd just be like normal. And then, since it's on TV, they would have commercials where the commercials would be like, I'm going to stop the recording because I think it's killing everything. The commercials would say, everything's wrong with you. You need this Oxy Clean for your skin. You need this hair product for your hair. You need this because you smell bad. It smells like Teen Spirit. Smells like Teen Spirit, ladies and gentlemen. Teen Spirit was the name of a deodorant for girls. It was like Teen Spirit, and it was very popular. It was on the TV all the time. They'd be like 14-year-old girls with Teen Spirit, and then it was like it's an underarm deodorant. So when Nirvana came out with Smells Like Teen Spirit, They could not have been more sarcastic. It is like the most sarcastic title of a song ever, and it resonated because it was like sort of broke that whole everything's wrong with you. You need to smell better. Your hair needs to be better. Your skin needs to be clearer. You need to lose weight. This is all commercials do. All commercials, everything that tries to sell something to you, especially if you're a teenager, everything that's trying to sell something to you is telling you there's something wrong with you and that you need to fix it. This is how they do it. There's something wrong with you. You need to fix it. And here's how you fix it. This is what every strategy for every product is. Essentially, your life is less than without this product. Chiroptera says, super hotties are often as funny because they don't have to be. Aren't often as funny. I would say yes, that it is rare. Let's see. Let's catch up. Chiroptera says, I am personally annoyed that a lot of extremely beautiful people have lower skill levels because they get stuff for being hot. This is true. Not that attractive people can't be skilled or funny, but a lot of them aren't and get chosen over someone who is skilled or funny anyway. Yes, that is statistically true. It is statistically true that better looking and taller people get further in life. Period. It's just tall, good-looking people get ahead in life. It's true. It's statistic. It's measurable. So why the hell am I so poor? We're gonna win. We're gonna win this thing called life. I'm glad only one person is watching. I think like 10 people are watching, but everybody's, quiet. It's fine. I do like to engage with you. I like to talk with you. If you guys want to support on Patreon. I'm doing this 80-20 rule. And I feel like if I'm spending 80% of my time, I got to figure out how to maximize this, the outcome of this show. I feel like, what would you guys like more of? Tell me more. Tell me what you'd like to see, and we'll do it. Because I got a platform and a show and some ideas and a point of view. So I would like to engage a little bit more. This is why Danny DeVito is a hero. Danny DeVito is a hero. That's my volume control version of Star Wars. I don't know. But here's the thing about tokenism. Because now you got like tokenism of Danny DeVito. You're like, oh, we want a Danny DeVito tape or just Danny DeVito every time. So they just get Danny DeVito to be that one guy that they know can be the different looking type of comedy foil or whatever. And maybe he won't be the, quote, romantic lead. Because, there's certain, like, stereotypes and archetypes. But it's interesting to me. It's very interesting to me that this is what we're up against. I'm glad that we can advance the dialogue and change up our thoughts on things. But at the same time, we got to look at what we see around us and what we actually do want to see, what most people do want to see. Like, I could sit there and get mad at pop music all day for being 3 chords. Be like, they need more chords. It's like, well, people are shaking their leg to it. You might as well go, hey, that's what people like. What am I going to tell people to not like it? I can offer an alternative. Offer me alternatives. Offer me and I feel fine. And I decline. That's it. It's the end of the world as we know it. I'm just saying, you offer alternatives. People will find those alternatives, but there's going to be like a bell curve. There's going to be a distribution of what people like. So I'm on a very small percentile. I don't know what a percentile is. I don't know what that is. Is a percentile it's like what you put on the floor, you mop it? Well, I'm going to wrap it up. Toss it outside. I also want at least a few things to be justifiably mad about. Yeah, we need to be more mad about actual representation across the board. I get that, like, I'm just saying Emma Thompson is playing a physically imposing character. I would not say that she's wearing a fat suit. I would say that if there's a person who is a character that is described for some reason or another as, like, extremely large... Right? Do you cast an actor who is extremely large, especially if they're supposed to be like a bad guy? I don't know. Maybe they're a good guy. Maybe they're just a guy. Doesn't matter. It's like, at what point do you... And a lot of times, actors don't stay physically in one space that often. Maybe Emma Thompson couldn't do all of the working. For instance, Matt Damon got real skinny when he did like Talented Mr. Ripley and some other movies. He got really, really thin. He starved himself, and it actually messed up his metabolism. He got long-lasting, horrible metabolism side effects from starving himself. So when he was playing The Martian, and in that movie he gets real skinny, he used a body double because he said, the reason my character is really skinny is because there are reasons. He's stranded on Mars and he needs to ration his food, so he gets real skinny. So you're going to sit there and go, well, should Matt Damon get thin for these one or two scenes in the movie, or should they hire a body double who's actually naturally thin? It's very confusing. At what point do you sit there and say, whose job is it to tell the story here? Is the story more important? What is more important? Where is the outrage? Why is the outrage? What's a good song here? Song. I'm amusing myself right now. Yeah. Well, be justifiably mad. Find a thing to get mad at and stay mad at it your whole life until it gets fixed, and then find something else. But make sure it's of equal justifiability. Don't just be mad to be mad. And listen, take a page out of who was that? White Snakes? Who sang that? Girl, don't go away mad. Girl, just go away. I think that was either Poison or Motley Crue. Poison, probably. Poison was a little bit more rude. Go away. Girl, don't go away mad. That was Motley Crue. That's a great song in the sense that it's incredibly misogynistic. I'm joking. It is not a great song. It's actually a bad song. Also, I don't agree with the theme. Girl, don't go away mad. Girl, just go away. See, that's not a very nice thing. It should be, girl, don't go away mad. Girl, let's resolve this through talking. You know what I'm saying? That's what it should be. That would be the emotionally mature version of Motley Crue. Motley Crue, come on, what's with you guys? What are you, some kind of raucous crowd? All right, well, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.